So in today's video I'm going to be talking about who should have made the internationals team. I know people are probably not going to agree because in the battles there was like loads of interviews, talking heads, so you only saw like a few moves, but there's some people I disagree with. Should have won. This is me just typing something in because... Right, so basically how the battles worked was one dancer would pick a name of another dancer from the hat and those two dancers would battle. It could be elite versus elite, elite versus the next step, or the next step versus the next step. So we had, for the first battle, Hunter and Eldon. Eldon won. And I do agree with that because Eldon is so much better than Hunter, and that's not me being biased saying Eldon's better because he's the best male dancer. But Eldon had a lot more technique. Hunter, he actually slipped when running into his head slide. And also Eldon did a lot more, like he landed his flip. His turns were insane, like he was just so good, like his technique was flawless in that one, so I agree. Noah and Abby, no one, I agree with that. The only thing that let Abby down was because she is so powerful and she can be like soft when she needs to be. She had her head in the game all the time. The only thing that let her down was she stumbled. Noah was good, but it would have been a tougher call had there not been the stumble. Next is Sierra and Skylar. Sierra won, I agree. Sierra, I thought she was better than Skylar, like she's actually good. Skylar, the only impressive thing I saw was a backflip. I did not like Skylar's solo that much, but there again, there's like interviews a lot, so I didn't see much. Skylar's solo could have been better than Sierra. But I don't think I agreed with Sierra saying Skylar is dancing so well. Hey, if she knocks me out, they went from the best. I literally think that they did go for the best, which was picking Sierra. So, and I also prefer Sierra's dancing to Skylar's dancing. Like, Sierra is the best jazz dancer. Like, I put her as top for jazz because she is that good. I say my points in who's the best jazz dancer, so check that video out. Next is West and Shannon. West won, I agree with. Because West was so creative. He used a basketball in his routine. No one else would have thought to use a basketball. I disagree with what Daniel said there. Like, I do get what Daniel says. Like, this is an art form, not a sport. But I do like it. Like, I actually enjoyed it. Shannon, if she'd have been clean, there would have been some more competition, but because she messed up a few times, she did solidly start, but it was nerves that got the better of her, so that's why she didn't win. Like, if she'd have done it clean, there would have been a bit more competition, and she would have been able to be considered. It's always classic to see me drink. So, but I think Wes would have still won, even because I liked his routine more than Shannon's. Rochelle and Max. Max won, I disagree. Rochelle should have won. Rochelle invented moves that were so unique for a kid of her age. Max, I didn't see a lot. Like, Max just did turns, he did like this roll, he did a flip, he did a jump. And that was like it. Like, Rochelle, we saw more moves and they were better than Max's, so Rochelle should have won. But I can understand why Max would fit on the team because Rochelle is so tiny. Like, Rochelle wouldn't have fitted because of height. Like, they all need to be roughly the same height. Next is James and Riley. I agree and disagree. James is generally a better dancer than Riley. Riley won, I agree with, because James didn't dance. If James had danced, James should have won because James is better than Riley, to be honest. But it is horrible them having to go against each other. Next is Mackenzie and Chantal. I disagree. Mackenzie should have won. Chantal's dancing is boring. Whereas Mackenzie's dancing is interesting. Like, I know we only saw a few moves to make Chantal seem like stronger. Kate said Chantal is incredibly focused, but Chantal actually looks bored. Mackenzie's really sort of focusing, trying to doing her best moves. Like, she actually does look like an acro dancer, so Mackenzie's better than Chantal. Next is Jen versus Chloe. I disagree, Jen should have won. Jen had a lot more stage presence than Chloe did. I know that was the best time Chloe had ever danced, like it was new. But Jen had a lot more stage presence, I found. Her moves were just effortless. I felt like some of Chloe's were a little bit forced. Like, Chloe would have been better doing like a ballet point solo or something like that, because that would have easily have beaten Jen, but Jen had a lot more stage presence. She just went for it, Jen did. That's the one thing I can say. Jen went for it. I'm sorry for that alarm. I will keep going. Then it's Nick versus Talia. I agree. Talia had a lot more in Nick. The only impressive thing was a layout. But I think as of interviews, we didn't really see much. So I didn't really like Nick's dancing that much. I liked how Talia put her heart and soul into it. Like, was so good. Next is Tess and Amanda, and I agree because Amanda's the better dancer than Tess. Like, Amanda just brought her all. Then the final pair is Daniel and Giselle. I disagree. Daniel should have won because Daniel showed new moves. Whereas Giselle, you saw a typical Giselle solo. But I can understand because Daniel was a bit of a jerk why he didn't win, so Amanda was just a generally better dancer, like she could do. I think she did a handstand, and she did an aerial, so she can do tricks. I don't get why she's seen as like the worst dancer on the team. But that was more a little side note. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoy seeing my thoughts on the battles and finding out a little bit more about the battle in season 3, because that was honestly one of my favourite seasons, I'm pretty sure. Actually, season 2 was my favourite. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Bye.